Hello friends, this is Worm, as many of y'all may recall from high school, and today I wanted to talk about Antaeus Ward's and young Ahamkara's spine being nerfed, and not so much about them being nerfed, as I do want to talk about the power vacuum and what's going to replace these exotics, right? Because these exotics are obviously really big power players in the Crucible right now, and with them getting nerfed as hard as they are, I think that we're going to see some other stuff take their place. But before we go any further, there are a lot of you who aren't subscribed, so feel free to go down there, hit that sub button, because we make daily content such as this. And yeah, let's talk about exotics. Now, I want to start with Titans here, because I feel like Antaeus Ward's is probably the more frustrating of these two exotics. And of course, Antaeus Ward's is getting a nerf. Now, to briefly cover what the changes are that are coming to Antaeus Ward's, basically, it's going to be tied to your class ability. And when you block damage, depending on the amount of damage that you block, it will take away that amount of your class ability energy, right? And it will no longer boost your slide. Okay, that's another thing that they're changing as well. And of course, this is going to cause a substantial drop in usage, right? We've seen this time and time again, you know, when something is at the top of the meta, right? It gets nerfed, it then drops down substantially. Right, think about Dune Marchers. Like, Dune Marchers used to be all the way up at the top. They got nerfed, and really, they didn't even get nerfed like that hard. They just, I would say they got put more in line with where they should be, and they dropped substantially in usage. And we saw a big jump in other exotics being used, right? But with these nerfs that are coming, I did want to talk about this. Because obviously there's a separation between 3v3 and 6v6, right? Now, first thing, in 6v6, Antaeus Ward's is definitely going to drop in usage, right? In your 6's playlist, like, the ability to reflect the shots back at somebody when sliding in for like a shotgun kill or something, like, yeah, that's great and all, but it's so situational, and especially with the number of people that run, you know, like the Void subclass with Bastion, you're gonna see this really drop off a lot, right? And I think this is probably going to be most paired with Arc 3.0, right? Arc 3.0, because Arc 3.0 is where these are, in my opinion, the best at, right? And of course, with the changes to the class ability and stuff like that, you're not going to be able to pair them with the Juggernaut Shield and Antaeus Ward's anymore. But of course, if you have the Thruster ability and max resilience, I think it's a like 10 or 11 second ability cooldown, right? Class ability cooldown. So the cooldown is really not all that bad, and you can put on a certain fragment, I don't remember which one it is, that will actually reduce that cooldown further while you're sprinting. So I definitely think that these are probably going to be used more with Arc than anything else, as well, you know, as the thruster ability and stuff. But in 6's definitely going to see a sharp drop off. However, in the 3v3 playlist, such as especially Trials, I'm gonna be honest, I don't see these changing all that much, right? Because here's the thing, in the 3v3 playlist, you've got at most 3 kills that you can get in a game, like in an efficient game. Like, obviously, you know, you could pick somebody off at the back of the map, but then their teammates can just revive them, right? But if you're running in there with Antaeus Ward's and you're slide shotgunning, you know, you're basically guaranteed to win the fight, right? It's like, that's been no secret. That's been the problem that Antaeus Ward's has had and plagued for so long. I don't see it changing much in 3s, because in a game mode like Trials, actually in Trials specifically, right? In Trials specifically, when you get one pick, right, you get one kill on the enemy team, that already puts you at a substantial advantage in the game, right? So Antaeus Ward's, yeah, it consumes your class ability energy, but like, what is the percentage of players that don't have a class ability, especially if they're running tier 10 resilience? What percent of Titans don't have a class ability back for the next round, right? And you can still slide in there, you can reflect damage back at the enemy, and you can still shotgun them and win that duel 9 out of 10 times. You can have it ready to go for every single round of the game, and as long as you can get one kill, you're set, right? You don't need to chain it together multiple times. That's why I don't think Antaeus Ward's and Trials is really going to go anywhere. I think that people are going to stop using it because it got nerfed, right? Because the simple concept that it got nerfed is going to turn people off of it. But I still think Antaeus Ward's is going to be difficult and problematic in the Crucible. And specifically in Trials, right? Yeah, that's my thoughts on the Antaeus Ward's nerf. But moving on from the actual nerf itself, what's going to take the place of Antaeus Wards? Because obviously, if they are being used less, there are some other weapons that are going to be used more. And I went ahead and I looked up the trials reports from this previous weekend to see kind of what I guess what some of the most popular options are for each subclass here. So I've got it pulled up. Let me pull it up over here so y'all can see it. Of course, for the Titan, Antaeus Wards is at the top. Okay, 7.2% of players, or almost 1 in 4 Titans are using Antaeus Wards. Up next for Titans, though, are Dune Marchers and the Peacekeepers, right? This does not surprise me. Okay, it's no secret that as Destiny players, especially in the Crucible, we like free. Like we don't like to have to build heavily into things. That's why we prefer things like maybe Knucklehead Radar as opposed to, oh, I don't know, something that requires more build crafting, right? Like this is why Ophidian Aspect is so popular. Ophidian Aspect, you put it on, you don't have to think about it, right? You don't have to think about it at all. That is what Dune Marchers does. It's just you put it on and profit. Same thing with Peacekeepers, right? Like you put it on and you profit. You don't have to do any sort of thinking or, okay, like I gotta, plan for this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Like players just like that. This is why Stompies is up there. This is why Transversive Steps is up there. This is why Wormhusk is up there, because all these things just kind of follow in the normal loop of gameplay. Knucklehead Radar's on here as well. Players, again, don't like to have to like consciously use their exotic. They like it to be passive and working for them basically at all times. Right, so it's no surprise that Dune Marchers and Peacekeepers are up here on the list. And I do think that Dune Marchers and Peacekeepers are probably going to be the ones that we see being the most popular choice right after Antaeus Wards. And especially because they share that same exotic spot. They share the boots, right? So as a player, you take off Antaeus Wards, and as long as you have been basically just collecting exotics, you probably have a Dune Marchers or a PKs that you can switch out, a pair of Peacekeepers that you can switch out with minimal effect to your stats, and again, just profit from them, right? In fact, after Antaeus Wards and Dune Marchers here, the next most popular one is Synthos. And Synthos, again, it's kind of free. I think I'm genuinely surprised that Synthos is, no, I'm not. Synthos is very good. Next week, of course, Synthos is also having the melee lunge range reduced, but I think that's definitely not nearly as big of a change as Antaeus Wards. Or maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe Synthos already had their melee lunge range reduced, or maybe that's coming next season. I know that they said something about reducing Synthos, so if you know exactly what it was, let me know in the comments. But at any rate, besides Peacekeeper and Dune Marchers, we also have One-Eyed Mask, and One-Eyed Mask is a very good option. It never really has been a bad option, even after its nerf several years ago, when it was absolutely terrorizing the Crucible. It's a good option to use still, and especially in a game mode like Trials, where if you win a 1v1, you are set, right? You've got the overshield, you've got this a little bit of wall hacks as well to help you track enemies. But I think that most likely the Dune Marchers, Peacekeepers are what we're going to see fill in for the absence of Antaeus Wards. But if not, I think that this list here of the popular Trials exotics is pretty tried and true. One-Eyed Mask is definitely going to be a good option. I think that One-Eyed Mask will also fill the void fill the power vacuum, that we will have once Antaeus Wards is gone. Now, however, I want to talk about Young Ahamkara's Spine. And Young Ahamkara's Spine is, like I said, I don't think it's as frustrating as Antaeus Wards, but it is definitely still very, very frustrating and obnoxious because of the amount of trip mines that you run into as a player. Like, literally every single engagement, there are trip mines just everywhere. I was actually playing a game last night in the Sixes playlist, and Lord, I swear, there were at least 3 or 4 hunters using trip mines with Young Ahamkara's Spine, because everywhere I went, there was a bunch of trip mines just everywhere, and I'd hit him, I'd walk into him, not even see him coming, take all that damage. Literally, I mean, especially with a Scorch, they take you to one shot. They take you to 1 HP, it feels like. But Young Ahamkara's Spine is, of course, getting a substantial nerf. It's, instead of just giving you that grenade ability energy on a hit, it now requires a kill. right? So I think that this one that has the bigger change in my opinion. You're definitely going to see a shift in the meta a lot more with hunters because, you know, like we talked about with Titans in PvP or in Trials of Osiris, in the 3v3 playlist, like you're still going to have those benefits from Antaeus wards. But with young Ahamkara Spine, if you don't get a kill with these abilities, meaning if you throw a trip mine and somebody runs into the trip mine first, then you kill him with your weapon, you're not getting that ability energy back. Like you have to get the final blow with either a knife or a trip mine, right, in order to get that ability energy back. So I think that these are definitely going to drop a lot more. But players who are very skilled, especially with the weighted throwing knife and stuff, you're still going to have high uptime with trip mines, right? Like if you are a very skilled hunter, you know, and you really know how to throw those throwing knives and get kills with them, this exotic is still going to be completely relevant. Because of course you throw a throwing knife, you get a kill, it instantly recharges your throwing knife. It gives you 50% of your grenade energy because you got the kill. Right? You know, so again, uptime definitely a little bit less than it is currently, but it's still very high if you are a skilled hunter. And this is why I think that this change was pretty decent in PvP. It's because Bungie has tuned it so that high skill players can still benefit from the you know, from the effects of it, but it's not just a you know, one size fits all, so to speak. You know, you put it on and profit because you just get a bunch of, you know, ability energy back. But let's go ahead and take a look at the list over here that we have for hunters. Of course, at the very top, we still see Stompies. Now, Stompies has gone through several changes, but it has not ultimately killed the identity of the exotic, apparently, because it's still very, very high on the usage rate up here, right? But aside from that, we also have Wormhus Crown. And really, I think Wormhus Crown and Stompies, they are exactly where they're going to be. Wormhus Crown, the ability to get health just by dodging. I mean, what else could you possibly want? You know, like you dodge throughout the game. You know, you dodge for a variety of reasons, but especially in trials. And again, we're looking at the trials list of stuff here. Like I don't have a list of, you know, just the general exotic armor usage in sixes or anything like that. This is specific to trials. But how many times are you dodging in trials, and how many times are you dodging because, you know, you need to get out of a sticky situation? Wormhus Crown fills that role so perfect. Like, you know, oh my gosh, I'm getting shot. Say, I don't know where I'm getting shot from, so I dodge backwards behind me. That health boost keeps you alive, and now you're out of, you know, and now you're out of range or out of sight. You can't be damaged anymore, right? Wormhus Crown is still a great option. I don't see that changing. I just see more people potentially using Wormhus Crown. But of course, the other thing that we have to talk about is this one right here, Knucklehead Radar. Knucklehead Radar has gotten tremendously better in this current meta, right? Knucklehead Radar, it now has the combined effects of Knucklehead Radar and the old foe tracer. So you can now track enemies that you damage. You can see them through walls, and you get to keep your radar when you're ADSing. Again, this is a free exotic. People put it on because they don't want to have to think consciously about their build. They just put it on and profit, which is why I think that, again, Knucklehead Radar is going to kind of fill the young Ahamkara Spine role. In fact, my prediction here is that come next week, in which I'm assuming I'm assuming the mid-season patch, it didn't come today, so it'll probably come next week. So 2 weekends from now, young Ahamkara Spine is going to be off of this exotic armor list chart. Right, Mask of Bacchus, you know, which is also on here. It's at the very bottom, but it's still on the list. Again, very good. You know, but I think that let's see here, Six Coyotes also on here, and then Oathkeeper, which that's wild to me that Oathkeeper is on here, but hey, sure. But you know, Knucklehead Radar is going to climb up. Young Ahamkara Spine is going to be knocked off of the chart. And really, I don't think that we're going to get another Hunter exotic come up here. I think that everybody's going to gravitate towards using one of these already top tier exotics. You know, Stompies, Wormhusk, Knucklehead Radar, maybe Six Coyote. Like having the extra dodge is always just really, really nice. It always just feels good to have an extra dodge. But yeah, I think that's kind of just what I want to talk about for the hunters here. You know, with these nerfs coming, these are some important nerfs. You know, we've said before, you know, that's you know, we feel certain ways about changes, but they're happening, right? There's nothing we can do about it. So I think that these are ultimately going to be for the betterment of the game, but we'll just have to see kind of what fills the power vacuum, right? Like what's going to fill the role. Is it going to be common stuff that you already see, like Dune Marchers and Peacekeepers, which, again, Peacekeepers, they're a phenomenal exotic if you use SMGs. They're too, in my opinion, sorry, a little side note here, Peacekeepers are too niche to nerf. Like, they buff your SMGs and that's it. Like, if you want to nerf Peacekeepers, just nerf SMGs in general, right? Sorry, okay, little tangent there, but yeah, that's kind of that's my thoughts on where we're going to be after the mid-season patch comes and after Antaeus Wards and young Ahamkara Spine are nerfed. But of course, I want to hear your thoughts. What do you think is going to come up in the, you know, be featured more in the exotic usage rates, you know, once Antaeus Wards and young Ahamkara Spine are nerfed? I always like to hear y'all's opinions and read y'all's opinions, stuff like that. But yeah, go down there, tell me what you think. If you liked today's video, drop a like. It helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content and conversations such as this one. And do me a favor, watch the videos you see on the end screen because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you will like them. Ladies and gentlemen, I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye for now, guys.